Hey, it's Tuesday. Tomorrow's our bonus day. Today would have been the last day of February.
It's Wednesday.
But it's okay. Today's Wednesday. There's so much great things to talk to. So many great things. I'm all messed up. It's okay.
He's just excited, fam. Give him a break.
News like this to talk about every single day.
He's like, every day would feel like whatever Christmas.
I was talking to my son Miles, who was driving in to work with me this morning, and we were just talking about being around long enough to see some cycles.
Right. Yeah, to see like announcements and changes and all of that type of stuff. It's cool.
All the dreams and hopes that work and don't work, and all the panic that is like raised up, and all the conversations that happens. And like I guess it's one thing as people get older, right? They start to learn this. And I just started thinking about through all the cycles that have gone in the auto industry since I've been paying attention, right? Like even things like autonomous driving, which is kind of recent history.
That's a word that we haven't said in that.
Yeah, like
Paul, are no longer remember this thing? Remember this thing? The metaverse. Wait a second.
Oh my
NFTs.
Gosh. Oh,
hold on. Gosh. Crypto.
Well, crypto's a thing. If you're following crypto, cryptocurrency is probably going to still be a thing, but NFTs, right? We don't call them that anymore because it's like a dirty word. We call them digital collectibles now, if you even care. But yeah, autonomous driving. No one's going to own a car anymore because everyone's just going to share these cars in this utopic world where people don't care about germs or dirt.
Bro, 2019 NADA. That was the jam.
All that was talked about. Hey, good morning to everyone that joins in the live stream. Adrian hits the first comment. Brian Ortega with a close second. I will say, if you're just listening to the show, know that we do live stream video version every single morning on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, or X, if you can.
Yeah,
and YouTube.
If you want to make fun of our faces, you can.
I mean, every day. Join the club. Hey, speaking of joining the club, we want you all to be at ASOTU CON this year. Let's just say, we'll just give it to you straight. May 15th and 16th, welcome reception on the 14th, a little bit of extra thing on the 17th, but primarily 15, 16. We're going to be in Baltimore with the ASOTU community, hundreds of us together. WOCAN is doing a special event. The Maryland Auto Dealers Association is having their annual meeting. You all can't go to that unless you're in the Maryland Auto Dealer Association, by the way. But we're going to have ASOTU CON. We have 50 plus speakers. We're working through session titles and content. Now industry partners are lining up and getting their plans ready. We have Will Guidara, New York Times bestselling author of Unreasonable Hospitality, who's really hitting the heat-seeking charts now. He was on Jimmy Fallon last week.
Everybody is talking about Will Guidara right now. We're so excited to have
him. We're going to actually be going to New York City probably within the next month to do a little live podcasting with Will. But I'll say, go to ASOTUCon.com. Just start looking at the speaker lineup we have. We're going to be posting sessions and topics very soon. We really want you to be there. And it's still early bird pricing.
There you go.
What else can we tell you? I know it's auto industry. It's tough.
Here's a segue for you. Ready? I got to prep you for this.
I got the button ready to go.
Speaking of the Big Apple.
Stop. Segue.
That is too good for the first segue. All right. Well, CarPlay may be the best thing iPhone users can hope for in their car, as Apple is officially shutting down its EV program, Project Titan. They're going to be reallocating resources to developing. I know it's a big one. That's a big want for me.
I was hopeful for this one.
I really was. They're going to be allocating resources to develop. Big surprise here: generative AI capabilities.
No way.
Yeah, Project Titan's winding down as they're moving some software people into AI. Some hardware people are probably going to be facing some layoffs. But I mean, they've invested billions in this. And they acknowledge the complex challenges of the automotive sector. And this could be an I told you so moment for all the people who make cars. I'm like, I don't think it's as easy as you think it is. Here's a quote from Dan Morgan from Sendoff Trust. He says, Apple canceling this project is a sigh of relief for us. Talking about like the burden it was putting on the company's performance and the likelihood of it making. Jeff Schuster, Global Vice President of Automotive Research Consulting Global Data, said Apple certainly had the most downside. Tesla benefits big time from being a status vehicle, and Apple definitely would be a status vehicle. Tesla obviously benefiting this. Elon Musk, in typical Elon Musk form on Tuesday, sent a post on X with a saluting emoji and a cigarette.
It was sublime. I think we have it right here. I don't know if Nathan, do we have the post sitting? Look at that. It's just a little retweet, just a little salute and a cigarette saying, "Hey, we'll smoke one for you. See you. Bye."
Yeah.
He understands the challenges that it takes to
Yeah, I
bring.
think that's a respectful salute, right?
Yeah, it's like, hey, kudos to you for trying. We know that it's hard. And I wonder, because I'm sure from a technology standpoint, they had it like on a roadmap, right?
Oh yeah.
But then when you think about the complexities of shipment, delivery, it's a lot different than shipping little boxes this big or this big in massive containers. It's like, how do we do the logistics of being an automaker, which is a business in itself, not just a small project within a larger business. So I'm hopeful that they not only develop more of the AI capabilities within their own suite of products, but also like in connected services like CarPlay with some of these manufacturers.
Yes.
I see them as similar to like, hey, what NVIDIA has been able to do in basically having themselves tethered to everything, right? Apple making a really big play now. I watch for it. Making a really big play for a lot of integration with legacy and net new OEMs. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that they still want to be in the car because the car has so much data about where you go, what you do.
Man,
it's just how they're in the car.
Gosh, they've developed so much tech, like so much, and that can't just fall to the wayside, right?
Yep.
Sharing that, and plus people being laid off, like there's gonna be a ton of talent on the street all of a sudden.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so, like, who's gonna pick that up? It's gonna be Ford, it's gonna be Kia. Certainly all of them. I felt compelled to pull these two books off my shelf. I got Steve and Elon.
Oh, right next to each other.
I
Little
know.
Walter Isaacson pair right there.
Couple pages in these things.
Few pages.
But the reality is, like, you and I, huge Apple fans, want to see him win. I wanted to see an Apple car come to market, but I think it's indicative also of the fact that, like, hey, when only 8 to 10% of the market is even driving EVs, like the upside gets slimmer and slimmer and slimmer as reality starts to set in. Speaking of reality setting in,
segue
time. Up in the hammer today.
I mean, asterisks on this one, but Chinese EV maker BYD has decided against launching its EVs in the US, citing the market's complexity and political entanglements as major deterrents as the company focus turns to strengthening its presence in Mexico as they build their new facility in Mexico. Stella Lee, BYD America's CEO, highlights the market's intricate landscape and why it's deterring the Chinese automakers' attempted entry. It follows speculation that the Mexican facility is a gateway into the U.S. Obviously, the auto industry, we've had a lot of conversation about that in the last week. Lee went on to criticize the U.S.'s slower electrification pace and the confusing political climate, contrasting sharply with Chinese robust EV adoption and clear policies. Here's the quote: "If you are not investing for electric cars, you are out. You will die. You have no future."
Yo,
let's not mince words here.
Just shots fired.
No future for us. Lee asserts, emphasizing the stark difference in the EV market dynamics between the U.S. and China.
Well, here's what's interesting is like the confusing political climate being a reason for an automaker to or not to enter the U.S. That's a wild statement for them to make. And it's clear they're not slowing down anywhere else, right?
I don't think it's confusing. I think that was the word that we used. I think it was actually very clear in that the U.S. values the health and stability of its major economic producers.
Yep.
Therefore, will effort to make sure we have a level playing field, especially when currency manipulation is happening, and like they're just saying, hey, like we need fair trade, not just free trade. And so confusing is a great word. I mean, I think it's a great play by BYD to just say, no, we're not coming to the US, but we need to set up this really big factory in Mexico while we work. I think they understand that the sentiment right now is against them.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, you started off with, let's put an asterisk on this story, because I think this thing is still yet to unfold. There's probably some there's some maneuvering going on here, because it's clear like people are going to want these cars as they see them across the world.
Yep.
And there's going to be a demand pent up for them in some way. My guess is, so we'll see what that Mexican facility really is meant for, because, that's where everybody puts factories when they want their cars to go to the U.S. You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of, well, I was gonna say this is like kind of the trifecta. We usually do like a retail story, but we had to put this third story
Had to
in.
go with this.
So
Yes.
Kyle, just roll us into the third.
Yeah. So in the first of possibly many about faces by OEMs, Jaguar Land Rover is completely abandoning its agency model plans in the UK, which as it opts to maintain its traditional franchise sales model amidst retail partner consultation. So they're backing away from not just the agency model, but also fixed price, no haggle sales strategy, opting instead to stick with the current dealership model rather than moving to direct sales. They initially planned to basically go all through JLR's direct control, both online and in the showroom, but now they're aiming to go back and adopt that traditional model. Darren Edwards, CEO of Sittner Group in the UK, says the franchise model is a tried and trusted model. And he was applauding the fact that JLR was willing to be flexible and change their path. And I think that the trigger point for me here was JLR basically saying, hey, look, we recognize that the franchise model is actually client centric in a retail experience, and can be even more, even while maintaining that franchise or franchisee relationship. We can get the experience out of it that we think we need. So
Again, this is the
I'm
third
pumped.
one. This is third, right? The first one. Apple's going to make a car. It's going to be big trouble. Okay,
Yep.
for franchise. Well, no. BYD is going to flood the market with cheap Chinese EVs, and everyone's going to be in trouble. Nope. The agency model is going to eat our lunch, take over, and we all need to find something else to do. Nope. Right? Just think about all the things. Dealers are the most resilient entrepreneurs I have ever seen in my life.
Yep, no doubt.
And I think the discourse, right? Because there's a counterpoint discourse that happens in public would say, well, you don't limit our choices. We want to be able to buy it whenever we want to buy, when we want to buy it. We agree with that. However, like the more you get into it, the more we see on the ground level what actually happens and the impact that the franchise dealership model has. Like Jaguar Land Rover understands it now, like in a business sense. We cannot deliver the product, serve customers the way they need to be served if we try to control everything from the top.
Yeah, and my guess is this is like a lot of it gets talked about from the sales model side of things, but my guess is that if you wreck the sales model, you start to realize how important the after sales model is at the franchise level.
Yes,
and if you don't give the franchise the opportunity to curate both experiences in line with each other, the after sales model actually takes the bigger hit long term for you as a brand. And I think that's probably what some of these OEMs are starting to recognize is, hey, after sales, staying close to the customer on a monthly, weekly, daily basis is actually a lot harder than just like maybe doing an online transaction.
Good insight. Good insight. So whatever it is, if you are in the retail auto industry, which you most likely are if you're watching this, today's a day where I think all of these things should motivate us to double down on our efforts to serve people, double down on our efforts to give the customer what they want. And guess what? Everybody will stand up and fight for you if you do that. Get out there and fight. We got today and a bonus day tomorrow. So we'll see you tomorrow.